Pennsylvania coming out of the bullpen. It's Victor Meadoros day for Chatham, and he's been very strong for them all season long. The righty from Miami, a sophomore with a 3.5 ERA. A lot of people think he could be a first-round pick.
And the reason he could be is because that fastball mid-90s and a good slider and has some good stuff. Y-D actually saw him last time, and it was a similar situation. Late scratch from Chase Hampton, and it was Meadoros who got the start. Similar situation here, except that we do expect to see Tolik, but just this time out of the bullpen.
Jacob Meador going up against Danny Sorrenti, the leadoff man, a second baseman. And from the windup, the TCU Horned Frog delivers a fastball on the outside corner. That's poked foul. Zach Liu playing third base behind Meador. Brooks Lee at short. Wyatt Huffman at second. Cody Huff is playing first base. That means that Cade Hunter is behind the plate for Jacob Meador. And the 0-1, a breaking ball slices the zone. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 pitches in to Danny Sorrenti. Now Cade Hunter catching and Cody Huff playing first. Absent from the lineup for the second straight day, Dominic Keegan, the 3-hitter for Vandy and the cleanup hitter for Y-D. 2 days ago was hit by a pitch on his left knee as the elevated fastball is taken high. And hasn't been in the lineup since. Had the off day yesterday, which was also his 21st birthday. Had wrapping around that left knee in batting practice yesterday. No wrapping today. He took part in batting practice as Meador gets Sorrenti looking. Strike 3 called.
Jacob Meador's been a workhorse this season, making his team-leading 10th appearance but first start. He's thrown the most innings out of the bullpen for the Red Sox overall on the season as well.
21 2/3 innings pitched, a 4.21 ERA for Jacob Meador. And you mentioned before he did start a few games for TCU this past year. Most of his success, though, coming out of the bullpen. And with 1 out, no one on, big swing and a miss by Matt Hogan, the right fielder.
And his fastball plays well up in the zone. That's his primary pitch, but he's been able to work through the lineup a couple times out of the bullpen this year. He's gone 4 innings multiple times, and he's also gone 3 2/3 once and 3 innings another time as well. So he's able to give you some length, and I'm sure that's what Y-D is asking of him here today. Starting probably on pretty short notice after Luis Ramirez was a no-go.
Well, he didn't give TCU that much length as the 0-2 breaking ball is lined to center field. And there to make the catch, Pat Caulfield making his first start as a Y-D Red Sox for the second out. Pat Caulfield in center. Chase Luttrell to his left in right field, and Tanner Smith, as per usual, playing left for the Red Sox. 2 outs, no one on for the 3-hitter Joshua Rivera, the lone all-star for Chatham. But you mentioned before that Meador could give Y-D some length. Only went long for TCU once this past year. 6 2/3 in his first start against Stephen F. Austin. He only gave up 1 run, and that was by far his best start of the season. Did not have a very good starter ERA. In fact, it was 9.82 in 4 starts. 1 ball and 1 strike now to Joshua Rivera.
And that pitch right there is what is going to make Meador have success today. It's the off-speed pitch. Fastball is usually there for him, but when he can locate that off-speed, he can be very, very difficult to hit, and that's what he's done over his last 3 outings. He's just allowed 1 run over the last 8 2/3 innings pitched, so he's been able to string together some scoreless performances as of late, and that's because he's landing that breaking ball at a more effective rate over his last 3 appearances where he's throwing some of the best ball of the summer.
And the 1-2 line center field. Pat Caulfield strides to his left and makes the catch. Side retired. No runs, no hits, and no one left on. In the middle of the first, it's Chatham nothing, and Y-D coming to bat right here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Back here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network, bottom of the first inning, no score. Wyatt Hoffman comes to bat. The senior from the University of the Pacific has his hands full against Victor Meador from Miami. Meador was a late addition to that starting lineup for Chatham. Was originally supposed to be Adam Tulloch, but Meador slid in, and now Tulloch's supposed to come out of the bullpen. Victor Meador, a sophomore from Miami, a 3.5 ERA in 18 innings pitched. 6 2/3 innings pitched this year in 2 appearances, 1 earned against Y-D, as Hoffman is even in the count 1-1. But Meador's a guy that a lot of people expect to be a first-round pick when it's time for his name to be called in the draft. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Hoffman.
Yeah, next year he's projected to be a high pick because of his fastball that has topped out at 97 miles per hour.
In the beginning of the fall, he said he really had trouble finding the breaking ball for a strike. He was falling behind hitters, but not there. Wyatt Hoffman retired on that elevated heat for strike 3. It's the 3rd straight game that Wyatt Hoffman has been retired on strikes in the first inning. So 1 out, no 1 on for Tanner Smith. Behind Victor Meador in the infield, Kenny Lavari playing 3rd. Joshua Rivera, the lone all-star, at short. Danny Sorrenti playing 2nd. Nolan McLean at first base, and Maxwell Romero Jr., the Vanderbilt product, is behind the plate. 1 ball, no strikes to the left fielder from Oregon, Tanner Smith. Make it 1 ball and 1 strike. Tanner Smith on a 7-game hit streak. Had 1 hit yesterday against Hyannis. 2-1. The outfield left to right for Chatham. Jake DeLeo, Caden Trenkle, and Matt Hogan. The umpires today, Ryan Damari behind the plate, Mario Rosas at first, and Levante Palmer is at 3rd. He was the home plate umpire yesterday in the Y-D Hyannis game that the Red Sox won pretty handedly. In fact, they won both games handedly, and that was a set that the Red Sox really needed to take care of business in. 3 balls and 1 strike to Tanner Smith. And Meador deals fastball inside, ball 4. So after a quick strikeout on Wyatt Hoffman, it's a 1-out walk for Tanner Smith. Brings up the hottest hitter in the league in Brooks Lee.
Shortstop, number 22.
And for Victor Meador, making his 4th start, but his 2nd start in a 3-start span against the Red Sox. Started opening day, then made his 2nd start of the year against Y-D. And he's coming off his best start of the year when he went 6 innings and no earned runs allowed against Falmouth. But you're right, he has a handful against Brooks Lee, who's just been on a tear over the last week.
16 for his last 29. First swinging fastball fouled off of the crotch of the catcher Maxwell Romero, inner thigh, maybe left side, and he winces. Allows the home plate umpire Ryan Damari to hand the ball to Victor Meador. 16 over 29. Do the math, carry the 1. That's a .552 batting average over his last 29 at-bats, coming off the heels of an 0 for 9 skid, which was his 2nd longest in his NCAA career.
What a way to respond. Just hit nearly 600 for about a week. That's how you respond to that situation, and he's just been on a tear, hitting everything hard as of late.
No balls and a strike to Lee. Checked his swing. Did he go on the fastball? He did not. Taken low for ball 1. And Lee, this is just his first game against Chatham since June the 22nd, when he went 1 for 3. But of course, there's that big hole in his game log on point streak for Y-D, with Team USA taking up a lot of time. Ground ball up the middle, could be 2. Meador fields it on to second, on to first in time. Double play. Not every day that you see Brooks Lee ground into 2. That's just the 2nd double play he's grounded into all season. 1-6-3 in your scorebook. And at the end of 1, no score between the Red Sox and the Anglers right here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Top of the second inning on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. No score between the Anglers and the Red Sox, and Jacob Meador trying to make sure that stays put. 11 pitches to get 3 outs to start the game. It's now 9 2/3 of 1-run ball for Jacob Meador, so quite the stretch for the TCU product. Probably one of the reasons that Scott Pickler felt comfortable with sliding him into a starting role, with Luis Ramirez not feeling 100% on game day. And the count is even at 1-1 on the breaking ball taken by Maxwell Romero, catcher from Vanderbilt. And the lefty, a junior, fouls it off of Cade Hunter. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Romero.
And Y-D, I mean, they're on a 3-game winning streak right now, the longest winning streak in the Eastern Division. They're playing better baseball as of late after taking 2 games handedly against Hyannis in the back-to-back series.
And Romero is quite hot, too. You know, Y-D playing some pretty good baseball right now, and it helps that Hyannis has only 7 wins on the year. But what doesn't help is that Harwich won last night, and that means that it's mathematically impossible for Y-D to claw their way into the CCBL playoffs this year. First time they've missed it since 2008. Of course, there is a caveat there. Typically, the top 4 teams in each division make the playoffs. As the breaking ball misses outside, count is full to the leadoff man Maxwell Romero, top of the second inning, no score. But with COVID, they cut the playoffs down to 2. And payoff pitch, grounded right side. Easy play for Huff. He takes it himself for the first out. And I think a lot of people are critical of a lot of different changes that are made because of COVID-19, the abbreviated season being one of them. But say what you want. Top 2 teams instead of top 4 teams in a 5-team division makes it a lot more competitive.
For the regular season?
Yeah.
It does. I mean, it makes...
I mean, think about it. You go from 80% of the league makes the playoffs to 40%.
Right. It's a significant drop.
And the only other professional league, as Nolan McLean takes the fastball way inside ball 1. I think it might have nicked the home plate umpire, too. Ryan Damari favoring his left hand, but gives the thumbs up to Cade Hunter. Scott Pickler just wants to make sure he has some time. The only other league that a lot of people follow and are familiar with that goes with the majority of teams making the playoffs is the NBA, and they get a lot of flack for that. Now, that being said, you want to compare how many teams make it from the NBA to how many teams make it in a normal CCBL year. That's like comparing apples and aircraft carriers. You're looking at just over 50% of the NBA makes it versus 80%. The 1-0 from Meador, nice curveball for strike 1.
And I think another difficult thing for the Red Sox is that missing out this year behind a really good Brewster and a really good Harwich team. If you think they're in the West, they're in a position to make the playoffs. They'd be one of the better teams, the second best team in terms of points right now in the Western Division. So you also think about that. You know, usually an MLB team with 87 wins, they make the playoffs in a 162-game season on average. And that's, you know, when you combine that, that's a 53% win percentage. Y-D with a 15-13-7 record right now. You wonder about those 7 ties. If they swung either way, what could have happened in that situation?
Well, that's the biggest question. And
that's
that's the biggest question of the year for Y-D, and that's a question that there's really no answer to. 2 balls and 2 strikes right here to Nolan McLean, the sophomore from Oklahoma State. And the pitch from Meador. Down goes McLean on the wave. Strike 3, the second strikeout of the day for Jacob Meador.
And how about the pitching as of late? They're on a 3-game win streak, topped Orleans and then beat the Harbor Hawks twice, but they've only allowed 5 runs overall over the last 3 games. The pitching has been really good. Last night, a prime example with Pat Gallagher giving a good start, but the pitching has really picked it up. They've been dominant over the past 3 games.
Lyle Miller-Green gives it a ride to left field, back on the track at the wall. It's gone. Lyle Miller-Green, the Bambino, puts Chatham up 1-0 in the top of the second inning.
Lyle Miller-Green.
His 7th home run of the season, 3rd against Y-D,
Center fielder number
and the Oklahoma State transfer
of Oklahoma State.
puts his mark on the game early on.
And he also puts his mark with just a few games to go. He wants to inch closer to maybe take home a crown. He's still got his work cut out for him. But now with 7 home runs, he's tied with Owen Diodati of Wareham and Chris Armstrong over at Falmouth, and trailing by 2 home runs of the 2 Mash brothers from Orleans and Chase DeLauder and Tyler Locklear, each with 9.
So 381 feet and 102 miles an hour later, Lyle Miller-Green has himself a long ball on the 0-2. Stands up Cade Hunter. The fastball to Caden Tranquil, a junior from Oklahoma State. There's a lot of Cowboy blood on this team, whether you're already there or going to Oklahoma State. Odds are you're in the CCBL, you're playing for Chatham. And the 1-2. Fastball is taken just high. It looked like Meador wanted that one, and indicates to the home plate umpire, wanted to know if it was up, and indicated with his hand, hey, is that up? And was confirmed by Damari. Here's the 2-2. Fastball poked left field. Tanner Smith was playing shallow. He reaps the benefits for the final outside retired. 1 run on a 381-foot hit from Lyle Miller-Green. No one left on. In the middle of the second, Chatham 1, Y-D none, right here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Bottom of the second inning on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Chatham 1, Y-D none. Alongside Will Connerly, I'm Brad Klein. And Cody Huff digs in for the Red Sox, the Stanford product. Victor Medeiros on for his second inning of work. A late addition to the starting lineup. It was supposed to be Adam Tulloch. For whatever reason, Tom Holliday going with the righty from Miami. 1 ball, no strikes to the red-hot Cody Huff. 6 for his last 10, and certainly easy to have the red-hot title when he's still reaping the benefits and coming off of a 4-for-5, 2 home run, 6 RBI game against Hyannis. That was the first game of a 2-game set, and in the second game cooled off a little bit, 2-for-5. No RBIs there. 2 balls and a strike on the slider that misses outside. But Medeiros working pretty efficiently early on. Here's the 15th pitch, and Cody Huff drives it left field, but way foul. That was about 20 feet past the fence, but 30 feet left to the foul pole. So 2 balls and 2 strikes still to Huff. Line back to the screen. We'll do it again. Cody Huff, Eric Yost, Chase Luttrell, all paying homage to their host family, as did the rest of the Y-D Red Sox roster today. Host family night at the Red. The second to last game for the Red Sox at Red Wilson Field this year. Ground ball sharply hit. Kenny Lavari, the third baseman, fires over to first in time for the first out.
It's a great play made by Lavari to come up and get the big hop, but you weren't kidding when you said fires. That was a really good throw across the diamond. When you come up and get a big hop like that and get rid of it while your feet are still moving, he lasered it over to third base. Pretty good arm from the Old Dominion product over at third base.
1 ball, no strikes to Chase Luttrell with 1 out, no one on. Luttrell had 2 stolen bases yesterday, his first multi-stolen base game as a Y-D Red Sox. Swing and a miss, 1 ball, 1 strike. Leads the team in at-bats and stolen bases, also double plays and strikeouts though. 2-1. Was 2 for 3 yesterday. It was also his first multi-hit game since July 18th. The Long Beach State dirtbag lines it foul left side out of play. Almost hit Wally. The Boston Red Sox mascot. I think the Y-D Red Sox have to get at least some sort of mascot just to match the Bo Sox, right? You're going to take the name, you might as well take a mascot as well.
What do you think it will be?
Oh boy. There's no wall to play off of. Luttrell goes down swinging for the second out. That's his 39th strikeout. Again leading the team. 2 away in the bottom of the second for Zach Liu. All right, well, let's come up with something here. If you bring the donut burger back, you could do something with that. Has to be an identifiable characteristic of the Y-D Red Sox.
And think around the Cape League. Do any mascots pop in your head around the league?
No. Well, the Orleans Firebird.
The Firebird, yes.
1 ball, 1 strike to Zach Liu. All right, come on. The clock's ticking here.
I'm waiting for the comments. YouTube.
It can't just be on the viewers as Zach Liu dumps it into right field. A 2-out single for the Cal State Fullerton product, and Y-D has their first hit of the day.
How about Zach Liu, though, as of late, hitting well. Had 2 hits and 2 RBIs yesterday. Did a good job toward the bottom of the order. Another multi-RBI and multi-hit game that he had, and has a knock at his first at-bat today. Swinging it well as of late.
Here's Drew Bowser with 2 outs, a runner on first. Checked his swing. Did he go? He did not, and had the slider off the plate. All right, here's a thought. Y-D is one of 2 teams in the CCBL without lights. Brewster being the other one. So you could do something with that. No lights, daytime game in a way. 5 o'clock first start, first pitch. That's pretty early.
You do a mascot about the time of day?
You could. It has to be something identifiable. You're not going to do a Red Sox, right? So Boston Red Sox took the wall in left field and made it their own. 2 balls and 1 strike to Bowser. You could do like, I don't know.
I mean, it's the field.
The early risers.
The field is a launching pad.
Yeah.
They do let up the most home runs in the league.
Sure. I don't know that if that's necessarily something you want to gloat
It's unique to
about.
Red Wilson Field.
352
But
feet
also,
to dead center.
I also could recruit some players. Hey, you know, if you want the home run stat.
So what, like a trampoline? Charlie the Trampoline? Charlie the Trampoline, the Y-D Red Sox mascot. What do you think?
We're failing.
Fun for the family. Join Charlie the Trampoline. No?
We'll go with it.
We're thinking it. We're workshopping it. The 3-1 to Bowser on the inside corner. The count is full now with 2 outs as Zach Liu has a head start. All right, so far it's Charlie the Trampoline. There are a lot of trees in the outfield identifiable to Red Wilson Field. You could do, like, we're going to pretend they're oaks. You could be the Mighty Oaks.
The Mighty Oaks of Yarmouth Dennis.
It could be like the Mighty Oak, yeah. And you take a play out of the Stanford playbook. Zach Liu goes for second. It's just cardio as Drew Bowser draws the full count walk.
Are you sure that those are oaks out beyond
No, I
the wall,
don't. Let's just operate under the assumption that they're
the
oaks.
oaks. Okay. I'd be curious to know, though, what type of trees that we see so many balls land in the vicinity of are out in center field.
It could be a lumberjack, Larry the Lumberjack, at Red Wilson Field.
Yeah, but Wally the Green Monster here in attendance.
That sticks, right? I'm just saying that you need something of your own. You're not going to expect Wally to make the 2-hour drive back and forth every game, right? So you need someone. You need something.
Well, you put it out there. Maybe it comes into fruition. A few years later, you're looking back.
Charlie
hey,
the Trampoline.
Hey, that was Brad Klein's idea.
Here's the 0-1 to Cade Hunter. Pops it foul, left side, out of play.
How about Cade Hunter as of late? He's put some really good swings on the ball, and we've kind of noticed he's been working at the plate, kind of changing a little timing mechanism over the last week, and he's really hit some balls hard. I mean, how about the home run he hit, win a mile? He's a really good hitter with good power and, you know, dealt with some injuries at Virginia Tech, but swinging really well.
Cade Hunter tattoos that one to right field. That gets down for a base hit. It'll be extra bases. It'll be extra runs. Zach Lou comes around to score. Drew Bowser on his way. The throw is in time to get Bowser by a half step. The throw came from Joshua Rivera. The fans calling for a ground rule double because Hunter's baseball got lodged between the grass and the bottom of the right field fence, but Matt Hogan played it, did not even bother waving his hands in the air to try to get the play dead because he knew the relay would be quick and Drew Bowser was thrown out. But Cade Hunter gets credit for an RBI double. Zach Lou comes around to score. Bowser is the final out. But one run on 2 hits and 1 left on. At the end of 2, it's 1-1. Tie game at Red Wilson Field.
Well, we're all tied up at 1 here in the top of the 3rd. Alongside Brad Klein, I'm Will Kinerly and Kenny Lavari at the plate. Here against Jacob Meador after Cade Hunter knotted things up last half inning with an RBI double. But then the frame was ended after a good relay and play at the plate cut down Drew Bowser at the plate for the 3rd out. And Jacob Meador on the mound for the Red Sox. He's looked pretty good, though, through his first 2 frames. One mistake pitch to Lyle Miller-Green, and he launched his 7th home run of the summer in the top frame of the 2nd. But Y-D was able to equalize the game last half inning. And here in the top of the 3rd, a ball and 2 strikes to Kenny Lavari.
Cade Hunter with that double. He's just been hitting so well right now, and it comes down to such a minor adjustment that he made with the coaching staff. That just changed his game.
Hit hard right side, pass and extending Wyatt Hoffman into right field. A single for Lavari. And back to Cade Hunter, somebody from Virginia Tech, a successful athlete who had some slumps to begin the summer. And as of late, he's really swinging the bat well. And it's interesting seeing the way that he's been able to hit baseballs much better in batting practice and how that has translated to the game over the past week, hitting everything hard. And a player with a ton of potential at the plate that we have seen. And you mentioned it's not reinventing the wheel and recreating his swing. You know, the coaching staff mentioned it's a just short little change in just timing. And hitting all about timing. When you can figure out one little mechanical shift, sometimes it can change everything. Hit hard left side. Zach Liu at third, over to Wyatt Hoffman, but not in time. Liu, the third baseman, fielded it toward the left field line, threw it to Wyatt Hoffman, but he had to climb the elevator and didn't get back down on the bag in time. So Lavari advances to second, and Jake DeLeo gets aboard on first base. So he has a single and back-to-back hits. Here in the top of the third, 2 runners aboard with nobody out for the top of the lineup in the form of Danny Soretti.
And that was a tough play for Zach Liu. I don't know if he had a play really anywhere. Certainly didn't have a play at first with the speed of DeLeo, and he recognized that. So a weak throw over to second, and he should just be happy that it stayed in the infield.
Yeah, it was a high throw Hoffman had to go get. But also Zach Liu doing a good job of ranging over and trying to collect it at the line. You mentioned a very tough play.
If Zach Liu can't make that play, no one can. That should be noted.
Very good defender at third base. Been really impressed with the defense that has been put on display all throughout the infield. Zach Liu, when Brooks Lee is at shortstop, we've seen what he's been able to do, even just in this past week where he's hitting nearly 600. He's holding his own at shortstop as well, and Wyatt Hoffman's been great at second base all season. So 1 ball and 1 strike to Danny Soretti. The switch hitting shortstop from UNC, and he swings through a Meador breaking ball. Soretti hitting .294 on the season. One ball and 2 strikes with 2 runners aboard. And nobody out here in the top of the third. Soretti calls time. Hits the ball hard on a regular basis. Good control and line drive action for Soretti, playing in his 23rd game. A solid average, 14 runs, 4 doubles, with 1 home run and 7 runs driven in. The pitch inside, count evens up at 2-2. But Soretti, 18 doubles this past season. That was 4th best in the ACC. And played with Orleans in the summer of 2019. Featured in 11 games with the Firebirds. Grounded to Brooks Lee at short. Thought about flipping to Wyatt Hoffman at second, but decided to go to first to Cody Huff to get Soretti. And the runners advance to second and third as Soretti grounds out to Brooks Lee.
Well, that's a tough play for Lee, and he had to make a split-second decision too, just like Zach Liu earlier in this inning. But since he had to charge in on it and it was weakly hit, he really didn't have much of a play at second. With the speed of DeLeo coming from first, and especially because he had to charge in, he would have had to flip it backwards, all his momentum going towards the ball.
So Hogan now hitting. The left-handed hitting right fielder takes the first pitch low. 10 runs driven in and 4 home runs along with 6 doubles, hitting .238 on the season. Played in the Northwoods League over the past 2 summers of 2019 and 2020 as he swings through a breaking pitch from Jacob Meador. and played for Martha's Vineyard in the 2018 summer season in the Futures Collegiate Baseball League. And head coach Tim Corbin said that he's beloved by his teammates, would drop anything to help anyone at any time. He adores his personality and approach to the game every day, hitting second today for Chatham. With a tie ball game, though, in the top of the third. 2 runners in scoring position for the Anglers with just 1 out as the infield comes halfway. Chatham already with 3 hits. Meador pitch misses low. Meador making his first start of the season. Just 2 games left after today's contest. They are both going to be against Cotuit, at Cotuit tomorrow, and then the season finishes at home on Wednesday versus Cotuit, a Western Division opponent who's actually played really good baseball as of late. Jacob Meador, the 2-2. Swing and a miss, and he gets Hogan swinging. Now 2 outs here in the top of the third as Meador is 1 pitch away from stranding 2 runners in scoring position.
Oh, that's nails right there. You need a strikeout. You have a base empty, and Joshua Rivera coming up on the brink of allowing a run. Had some tough breaks with some weak contact. Wasn't able to turn 2 earlier and helps himself out with a big strikeout on Matt Hogan.
Joshua Rivera, the Florida Gator, grounded left side over to Brooksley at short, on to first, and in time. Jacob Meador works around 2 singles to begin the third, strands 2 runners in scoring position. And in the middle of the third, we're tied at 1 from Red Wilson Field on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Back with you on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Victor Medeiros has worked 2 innings for Chatham. And the right-hander's first offering to Patrick Caulfield misses upstairs for ball 1 to begin the bottom of the third. 9-1-2 set to hit for the Red Sox, looking to win their 4th game in a row. Grounded left side. Play made by Lavari at third. Scoop is made by McLean at first. And another nifty play made over by Lavari at third base. 2 great defensive plays made today as he ranges over to his left and throws it low, but it's scooped up by McLean as Caulfield grounds out to begin the bottom of the third.
That's a tough play. I think if Caulfield hit it a little bit closer to the line, then Lavari wouldn't have had a play because he runs really, really well. I actually looked like McLean might have taken his foot off the bag a little early, too.
Wyatt Hoffman hitting .333 against Chatham, has scored a run in 3 straight games. He grounds it left side. Lavari, same exact play. This time throw on the money as he ranges over to his left again from the third base bag. And back-to-back ground downs to Kenny Lavari at third base as he ranges over to his left. As Medeiros induces 2 ground outs to begin the frame. 2 away for Tanner Smith.
At deja vu, and Lavari knew exactly what to do. Was able to self-correct on the fly, too, with that throw. That's just 2 great plays by Lavari.
Pitch misses upstairs to Tanner Smith. And yesterday, talking about Tanner Smith and just how he's been really consistent for the Red Sox so far this season. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, then 1 strike the count. Leading the team with 20 runs driven in. Has 3 home runs on the summer as well. Hitting .259 on the year. And trying to start things off with 2 outs. He does just that. A line drive single to right field. And Tanner Smith gets aboard in the bottom of the third with 2 outs. And he continues to hit, Brad, and stay consistent at the plate. He's now hit safely in 8 consecutive games. His longest hit streak of the year.
Yeah, Tanner Smith continues to prove his worth in the 2-hole. And a lot of people might think that, especially for the 2-hole, he doesn't hit for the best average. But right now, he's hitting probably as well as anyone on the team except for Brooks Lee.
The pitch gets away from the catcher. Medeiros misses, bat outside. It goes to the backstop, and Smith trots into second base as Maxwell Romero Jr. wasn't able to handle it. Yeah, and speaking of Brooks Lee, I mean, he's hitting .421 on the season with 5 home runs. Had a double yesterday. The 1-0 pitch misses outside. But Tanner Smith on a nice 8-game hitting streak. Brooks Lee cracks this one to center field. It's back. It is out of here. Brooks Lee, his 6th home run of the summer, goes dead center here at Reb Wilson Field, and Y-D takes a 3-1 lead here in the bottom of the third. Brooks Lee touches them all, and the first-team All-American continues to stay scorching hot at the plate.
Brooks Lee doing what he does best, and he knew it. Took a little while to admire that one dead center field. He knows it's not a very far center field, but he knows it didn't really matter on that one because he scorched it.
So 2 quick ground outs, but then a single and a home run, and Y-D leading 3-1 here in the bottom of the third. Cody Huff entered this game 6 for his last 10, grounded out to begin the second inning. Hitting here with 2 outs and nobody on in the bottom of the third. Brooks Lee, he's not really slowing down. He hasn't shown any signs of that. After his 0-for-9 stretch, it's the best stretch we've seen of any player this season. The way he's put together at-bats. As Cody Huff with a line drive to left field, but Jake DeLeo shades a few steps to his left and makes the play for the 3rd out. So Y-D scores 2 runs on 2 hits. The big 2-run home run from Brooks Lee to center field. And after 3 innings of play, it's a 3-1 lead for the Red Sox on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network.
Jr.
Maxwell Romero Jr. to lead things off for Chatham here in the top of the fourth. Jacob Meador on the mound, and now Brad, he has a 3-1 lead to work with after Brooks Lee hit a home run to center field last half inning. Hit 10 home runs at Cal Poly this past year when he hit 342. Also had 27 doubles on the season, so ranked towards the top of the country in that category while hitting 342. But 6 home runs this summer in limited action on the Cape. I mean, that's in the upper echelon of home runs in the league, with the leader having 9. And now Lee with 6, grounded right side foul.
Brooks Lee, the numbers speak for themselves, right? But I think the lineup just looks completely different with him in it, right? And unfortunately went for that 0 for 9. It was during that stretch when Y-D just really couldn't score. And that was basically the nail in the coffin for their season. But think about where this team would be with no Brooks Lee. Let's say in a hypothetical world, Cal Poly never sent him. And that is a gaping hole, and I'm sure they'd have another shortstop that would perform well. Honestly, the other shortstop likely on this roster, maybe it's Zach Liu getting the everyday reps at short. And I'm sure they would have had someone else, but no one like Brooks Lee. Right now, at this moment, you can make the argument he's the best collegiate player in the country.
Represented the country for USA national collegiate team, and the way he's swinging the bat, the hottest hitter in the league, and swing and a miss for strike 3 for Maxwell Romero Jr. And he goes down. Jacob Meador, he records his 4th strikeout, and that brings up Nolan McLean. And of course, yeah, you can make that argument about Brooks Lee, but it's just fun to watch him play and perform at a very high level, right in the middle of the Red Sox order, and going up against future first-round talent and Victor Medeiros as well. Just being able to see the players compete. I mean, if you're talking or someone listening right now hasn't been to the Cape League, you'd probably tell them that a big attraction is to be able to see players like Brooks Lee and see players that are going to perform at a high level, potentially at the next level as well. Isn't that one of the biggest lures for you?
Yeah. Yes. You know, you're a broadcaster and you want to know where I'm going to call summer baseball. The opportunity to cover the best players, that's unmatched.
Back-to-back strikeouts to begin the top of the 4th for Jacob Meador. He now has 5, no walks either, just 3 hits allowed, and one of them came to Lyle Miller-Green. The lone run that he's allowed came from the right-handed hitting designated hitter, Lyle Miller-Green, who hit his 7th home run of the summer, back in the 2nd. And he swings through the first fastball upstairs. But yes, you have the opportunity to cover high-level players, but also, even if it's just a fan watching from home that wants to come experience the play and they take in a few days worth of games, that's a major attraction, even for the community, surrounding communities that start to develop affinity for these teams. Y-D Red Sox fans, and then you go to Orleans and they have their faithful. I think a big reason that they develop that affinity and teams or people come across the country is not only the historical notoriety, but every single year you are able to have some players that just play at such a high level, and that experience is really unmatched in any other college baseball landscape.
That's why the players come here too. They want to prove their worth against the best players. And Brooks Lee's just resetting the standard.
Yeah, it was hard to imagine. I remember our first pregame show, you know, who's to watch out for on the roster? And it was Brooks Lee, the 0-2 to Lyle Miller-Green. He's rung up as Jacob Meador strikes out the side here in the top of the 4th. 6 strikeouts for the right-hander, 4 innings of 1-run ball for Jacob Meador. And in the middle of the 4th, a 3-1 lead for the Red Sox on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Back with you on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Chatham aiming to win their 3rd in a row. Y-D aiming to win their 4th in a row. Both teams riding miniature winning streaks, but right now the score in favor of the Red Sox, a 3-1 lead. Here in the bottom of the 4th, Chase Luttrell, Zach Liu, and Drew Bowser, the scheduled hitters here in the bottom of the 4th. Victor Meador still on the mound. Has gone 3 innings. With the 3 runs surrendered as Chase Luttrell grounds it towards second. Danny Serretti flashes the leather, backhands it at second, on to first in time, and there's 1 out.
Now Chase Luttrell really thought he had a chance at an infield single there. It was hit off the handle. And if he got more barrel on it, it would be in right center field, but that allowed Danny Serretti to catch up, set his feet, and make a play.
Serretti playing some really good defense, and it's nice to have a luxury, if you're Coach Holiday, to have somebody who is UNC starting shortstop and plot them at second base primarily, with Josh Rivera also Florida's shortstop. And that's kind of that melting pot of a roster that's constructed every single summer. And Zach Liu hammers this hard left side. Down in left field, he's going to round first, trot into second, and he slides in and is safe in time. Zach Liu with a double and his 2nd consecutive multi-hit game. He's on second base with 1 out in the bottom of the 4th for Drew Bowser.
I'll tell you what, with Zach Liu's speed, he wraps a ground ball down the left field line. I'm thinking that's an automatic double, but Jake DeLeo fields it quickly. Great throw, almost had him.
Got it in quickly. Zach Liu seemed like once it got past the infield and was going to be down the left field line in the outfield, he was thinking to the whole way. Never thought about putting on those brakes rounding first, but DeLeo made the play much closer. And of course, when you talk about outfield and the Red Sox's Drew Bowser hits this one to left center field. It bounces twice into the glove of Jake DeLeo, but Zach Liu slides home to score an RBI single for Drew Bowser, and the Red Sox are on top 4-1 in the bottom of the 4th.
Nice piece of hitting there by Drew Bowser, and Zach Liu, Drew Bowser, 2 guys that had struggled. Same with Cade Hunter, who's at the plate now, but once again, just like yesterday, it's the bottom of the order for Y-D that's making things happen.